the delay.
Okay, good evening, everyone. It's we're right before the Yom Pesach, which the Yom Pesach is the most important Yom Tov from all Yom Tovim. It's beginning of the Shalosh Regalim, and Yom Pesach is connected to Avraham Avinu, because Avraham Avinu was the one who baked matzahs and made a time when the Malachim came to him. And the Yom Tov of Pesach is the Iker Yom Tov that we always have to remember. Zeichel Yetzias Mitzrayim. All Yom Tovim, by every Kiddush, Yom Shabbos, we always mention Zeichel Yetzias Mitzrayim. Because Yetzias Mitzrayim is what gives us the Amunah and the Rabbi Shlita. V'noichem Hashem Elokecha, for the first words of the Aseret Sedivos, Asher Tzisicha Me'eretz Mitzrayim. We have to remember and believe the Rabbi Shem took us out of Mitzrayim, and someone doesn't believe in Yetzias Mitzrayim, doesn't have emunah, is missing the most vital point of emunah, most vital point of believing in Hashem, because no one was there by creation of the world, but we were 3 million people by Yetzias Mitzrayim, 600,000 men over 20. And we all saw Yetzias Mitzrayim, and from generation to generation, till my father, and forgot from his father, and from his father. My father was Zoicha, that his grandfather was an alman, and my father was the last one to aid by him by the Seder. And he told my father, Shimi, Kik noch alles uzachti, look what I'm doing, because I want you to remember all the menhagim, everything we do. And he was nifter the next day, Chalamoid. And all the menhagim play a very vital role in Pesach, more than any Yom Tov. There's so many different menhagim in Pesach. It wouldn't happen any other Yom Tov, eating gebrochts, eating kidneys, and what people have. Some people only eat peeled things. Some people, there's so many different menhagim. And the reason is, it's a beautiful Mesher Chochmah for Meir Simcha. No one should go away from the menhagim of their house. It says menhagim is what keeps Klal Yisrael going. He says Amari the Gevart. He says Halolu Aivda Avodah Zarah, Halolu Aivda Avodah Zarah. As I'll teach us, the Klal Yisrael never that time was so long in Mitzrayim. And there were many Oivda Avodah Zarah. And what's chusi to go out of Mitzrayim? So Chazal teaches b'schus shloishinu shemam, they didn't change their names. Lashinu l'shoinim, they didn't change their language. Lashinu malbusham, they didn't change their clothing. So says the Mesher Chochmah, they're Oivda Avodah Zarah. But why did they go out of Mitzrayim? Because they still were Yidden. They wore the clothing of Yidden. They spoke the language of Yidden. They had the names of Yidden. As long as we go with menhagim keeps the Klal Yisrael going. Menhagim are from the Ikrim, the Mendel Ribnever, Zechariah Rocha, the Ribnever Rebbe, Mendel Ribnever writes, menhagim is what we have to always follow. Minig is what keeps us going from door to door. So that's why Pesach has so many menhagim. So many menhagim, and you have to keep your menhagim. Everyone has to go according to him. And that's why my elder Zayda told my father, look what I'm doing. I want you to remember all the menhagim. And my father to remember, and that's everything we do is exactly the way he did it. And this goes from generation to generation till Yetzias Mitzrayim. So it's not something, someone fabricated, something happened. I heard it from my father, he heard it from his grandfather, he heard it from his father, till Yetzias Mitzrayim. So that's why Pesach is a very important Yom Tov, something, the mitzvah begadat levincha, to teach our children. Matasapra bencha bebencha. You should teach your children and grandchildren. It's something, and that's why the Seder the main role of the Seder is to teach the children. Because I'm sorry for at the end of the Seder, when we finished everything, you sit down with all the children and bring with them, because this instills in them the emunah and Rabbi Shalom. The emunah of knowing there's a Rabbi Shalom, knowing there's a Rabbi Shalom who takes care of us, knowing there's a Rabbi Shalom, just like he took us out that type of Mitzrayim, he'll take us out from this goal also. And the Rabbi Shalom, because of that, like the Chinuch brings down, that Adam is mipal, a person gets according to what he does, that's what he becomes. We do so many things. We work 30 days before Pesach. We work so many days before Pesach. And before Pesach, we work so hard. And all these things, and the Rosh asks, Mo avoida zois lachem. Russia doesn't understand why do you have to work so hard? Mommy, why you work so hard? Tati, why you work so hard? But avoida is the ikar. The more when you're cleaning for Pesach, you're putting emunah in yourself. You're putting emunah in your children. Everything you do, preparing for Pesach, doing for Pesach. So one of the main things, the first thing we do with the 30 days before Pesach, not to have chametz in our house. There's alav in the Torah. You're not allowed to have chametz in your house. You have chametz in your house, you get malchus. You're not allowed to have chametz in your house. You have to make sure that Erev Pesach, and this year we're doing it Erev Pesach, we destroy our chametz two ways. One by burning it, getting rid of it, and one by annulling it, by mivatel it. Both ways, what the Torah wants, we need both. Even though you made bedika, you still have to make bittul, and even though you make bittul, you're doing a bedika. Bedika means you make sure there's no chametz in your house. What does it mean, no chametz? In the Torah, you're not allowed to have chametz in your possession. So either you get rid of it physically, or you sell it. That's what mechir. When you sell chametz, it's not just a ploy. Chas v'sholom. When you sell the chametz, means it's not yours. It means in your possession you have no chametz. How does it work? When the Rav goes to the goy, the person who sells it to the goy, and you make all kind of kinyonim to make sure that it's solid. All the chametz becomes his. How is he koine all the chametz? He gives a deposit, and every place the chametz is, he rents those places. He leases those places. So you're selling the chametz, not the homes. So if a person goes away for Pesach, let's say, his whole home is leased to the guy, and every chametz is automatically his. He doesn't mind if you walk in or something, but a person shouldn't be in the house. If you're selling your house, no one should. If you're selling the chametz in your house, no one should be in the house. And all the places where you're leasing to the guy, no one should go in unless they have to go for some emergency, but surely really shouldn't go in. If you forgot something or something, you go. And the chametz should be really placed in a room, the whole room, or in a cupboard. The whole cupboard is rented to the guy. You can't just put it in the middle of a dining room and sell it to the guy. If you're selling a cabinet of liquor in the dining room, so that cabinet is leased to the guy, but you should cover the liquor. It says that you shouldn't see the liquor. You shouldn't see chametz. You shouldn't see it, so you have to cover. If you have a cabinet with liquor or your cabinet, so the halach is you have to cover it, so you shouldn't see the chametz. But the main thing is really you should put it in a place where where the whole place where the chametz is leased to the guy. It's either in a room or in a cupboard, in a closet, and but it shouldn't just be placed. The same thing, or a kitchen. The same thing. You could have a kitchen cabinet where you close. So all this place, that's yourself. But you mekayim the mitzvah and the Torah to get rid of the chametz. And I always say, Rabbi Shalom Kabiyachal made Purim 30 days before Pesach. We have Purim. We got so much chametz. It's a test on our on our koiches. You got so much chametz, and you have to get rid of it. Get rid of it. It's every time you eat chametz, the Baal HaMor holds, you kind the mitzvah of burning through when it goes through your system, and your system eats up the chametz. That's Mekayim mitzvah burning the chametz. Every time you eat the 30 days for Pesach, every time you get rid of chametz, you sell it or give it away or do something or eat it. Anything you do, you Mekayim putting in the garbage, Mekayim. So these 30 days, and the Rebbe wants us to be busy with it, because the more you're busy, the more amunah you have, and the more the family is busy, it gets amunah from it. You get amunah from it. So what are you looking for? You're not looking for crumbs. You're really looking for pieces of chametz. You shouldn't have in your house chametz. And if you do have chametz, you put in a cupboard, put in a place, and sell it to the guy. Or if you don't want it, but it should be put away that in the home that you are staying, that you're occupying, there shouldn't be any chametz around. If you go to a motel, the halacha is that before you go, you make sure that room, there's no chametz in that room. Let's say if they have refrigerators there, and there's chametz refrigerators, you should put a tape on to know that you're not using that refrigerator, and you're supposed to be baidik and look at a flashlight to make sure there's no chametz around. And the rule I always say is places that you're coming where you're going to be, you have to make sure there's no chametz. Places you're not going to be there, so you just close it up and sell it to the guy. And things that you touch on Pesach, you have to make sure there isn't even a crumb, a mashu chametz, because the halacha is even a mashu chametz, much in a car or in a chair where you sit. Where all years there's crevices there, places. So you have to make sure that I hear myself. Sorry. You have to make sure that there isn't even a crumb of chametz. So let's say chairs that you sit on, table, anything you can touch. That's why cars are supposed to clean properly. The best thing is to shampoo it also. So if there's any chametz, it becomes bottle. Like anytime when you clean your fridge, you just wash it off properly, make sure there's chametz. And when you clean the rubber and everything, make sure there's no chametz. The freezer, make sure there's no chametz. And most people line it also. And things that like a freezer, really you don't have to line so much because you don't put hot chametz in there so much. And if you have the vents in the freezer, so you try to vacuum it out, but if you can't, you see there's crumbs. Best thing is to put a tape on it, and so it shouldn't be able to see it. And the same thing, anything that if it's easy to move the fridge, it's better to move the fridge. Make sure it's anything that if you have under a couch, under a table, on the things that it's easy for you to check. You should check to make sure that there's no chametz, and that's what you're doing the whole time. You're making sure you have no chametz anywhere. So when you're cleaning and dusting and all these things, you're making sure places, svarim that are used all year when you eat chametz should not be used during Pesach. Zmiras that you use, if you eat on svarim, the best thing is, if you want to go through every page to make sure, but if you're eating while you're learning, there are crumbs there, and the chazanish and the stipler and chaim used to always, those svarim that they used all year, they used to close up completely. And chazanish, because he was so involved in learning, he used to put a mechitza, he used to tie it up, so he shouldn't come to the disciple also did it, chaim did it also, so he shouldn't come by mistake take out the Gemara that has crumbs in it. I remember when I learned the Nitri Yeshiva, and right before Pesach, they had hundreds of Baruchim take all the svarim and take it outside and air out in every page. But that's one that not sure that you used it. But something you used while you're eating should not be used during Pesach. And it should be put away either in the room where you sell the chametz. The zmira should be put away in a cupboard where you sell the chametz. And it's better, the same thing, anything that you really use with chametz is better. A place where you keep bread, a bread basket, should be put away. A toaster oven should be cleaned up and put away. Anything where there could be crumbs should be sold with the chametz. And there's no way you could clean a toaster oven, a toaster. And if you want to burn it, but you put it away and you sell it with your chametz. And so what you're doing is when going, I always say the best thing is not to leave. Baruch Hashem, we don't live in one bedroom, one room homes. We live in bigger homes, and to do the proper bedika in every room would take hours and hours. And really, every time we're cleaning, we're doing bedika. That's bedika. Bedika means making sure there's no chametz. It's the whole time, the whole 30 days, we're always doing bedikas. Every woman and man who's cleaning, anything you're cleaning, you're doing mekayim the mitzvah, the rabbanon of bedikas chametz. Rabbanon, biggest chametz means rabbanon want to make sure that you take shiur. So every time you're mekayim bedika. And the best thing is, let's say if you finish a room, at night you take a flashlight, you go into the room, check it, and there's no chametz, and that's, you don't have to do anything anymore. So every night, most you have now from tonight till next week, Thursday night, every night you do a room, and so the night of bedikas chametz, and you only really have to check places, but if you have rooms that you never take chametz in, you don't really have to make a bedika. You have to make bedika. A woman has to make a bedika on her purse, because a woman's purse has all the treasures in the world. And the same thing, the rings she wears should be washed with ammonia, especially if she makes challah and needs, and pockets have to, and cuffs have to be checked. The shulmi chametz, you're talking to a woman, you have the woman's pocket, the coat's pocket, anything that has a pocket, you have to make sure there's nothing. But you have children, you have to check the children. Children have all kind of treasures in their pockets, and you have to, and also when children. I had the story the first year I came here, that someone came over to Chalamite crying to me. He went into his child's bedroom, and he opened up the cupboard, and he found a bagel. He asked the child, "What are you doing? What's this bagel doing here?" He said, "I heard you said for 7 days we're not going to have any bagels. So I hid a bagel for me. I want to eat some bagel." Children, don't comprehend always everything you really want. So children's rooms, that's why even after you clean a room, if you have children running around, you have to check it again. And you have to make sure, if someone wants to make sure that after you finish cleaning, don't give your children any chametz anymore. One, they could eat, matzah shir, egg matzah or chocolate matzah. So even if you have something, you find it. So that's what you do, mashal. If you have wheat flours, or some for the deodorizers, or anything that you have to make sure that you get rid of, put it away, sell it, and anything that you could think of that makes, so cars should be clean, and cars should be clean. If you use the car, or if you sell the car, then you don't have to clean it. You could sell it to the guy and don't use it. It's leased to the guy for the whole pesach. Anything that is yours in your possession, no chametz should be there unless it's a place where it's sold to the guy, or you get rid of it. And what we have to be careful is that anything that you come in contact shouldn't be even a crumb there. And like most drawers, you have to make sure where you have your silverware drawers, these kind of things. Make sure unless you put it away. So that's the first mitzvah, and the mitzvah comes out the whole time. You mekayim the mitzvah b'dikas chametz. It culminates with the night of B'dika, which is going to be next week, the night of the 13th. And that night, the halach is you have to start right, like Shkia is around 8 o'clock or 8:39. But if you start B'dikas before, like I usually only do that night, the B'dika in my study and B'dika and even my study, I never take chametz really, so it's not in the kitchen is where I really, and the minhag is that we put down 10 pieces. And the best thing is to put the pieces into a plastic bag, because if you put it out, you have a house, you can have a clean house, and by putting down the pieces, you make crumbs. So you have to make sure there's no crumbs coming from putting down the 10 pieces. And the reason is because you're going to check, so at least you should find something. Burning the 10 pieces. And the halach is everything you put, has to be put away. So let's first mention this is the mitzvah of cleaning for Pesach. Mitzvah of cleaning Pesach means bedikas chametz. That's what you're doing. Every time any man or woman or child does cleaning, you mekayim the mitzvahs asa the rabbanon of bedikas chametz, and it says the rice of beer chametz. That's a bracha we make when we make bedikas beer chametz. But that means to get rid of the chametz. Now the second thing, so we'll discuss first burning the chametz. This year we do the bedika the night before, and we can't do it on Shabbos, so we do it the night before. And if you didn't do it the night before, you could do it in the morning. And but really, it should be done at night because light shines better at night. You can see better at night. And you're not allowed to use any torches. You use one single candle. So the minhag is you take the candle, but we really shouldn't go around the candle. You shouldn't make a fire. The best thing is to go around with a flashlight, and just to remember the minhag, you also use the feather and the candle. But the main thing is to go with a flashlight to make sure there's no chametz. And you have to remember the vacuum cleaner bags that are full of chametz. Have to get rid of that before should we get rid of and burn it before Pesach. Our garbage bins, Marshall, this year, because we're going to eat on Shabbos till you're allowed to eat till the Zman of 11:06. You're allowed to eat. So if you have any chametz and you throw it into the garbage, the bin should not be in your possession. You should put the bin in Rosh Hashanah, a place, the first feet, 6 feet of your lawn belongs to the government, or you put it on the street itself. But if you want to put ammonia on it to make it those chametz, any chametz that's left over after you finish eating, you should try to flush it in the toilet. But what we do first is we burn the chametz like every year on Friday, even though it's not the 14th. We came to mitzvah. The Yehuda holds a mitzvah streifa, and we do it like every year. We try to finish by 12. But you could do it later also. But we try to do it like every year, so you shouldn't come to mix up all the years. And Mechir's chametz is done usually before 12:12. But this year you could sell chametz the whole day, because it's not also till the next day, till Shabbos itself, 12:12. So it's not also. But since so it means if someone forgot to sell the chametz this year, it's easier. Except if it was done already, the Rav can't do it, but you could do it yourself. You could sell the chametz. If someone forgot that the Rav sold it already and he can't, so you could go sell it to a guy. You could really go make a mechira. The Rav could help you how to make the mechira and sell it to a guy. And also the big benefit this year is also, usually we also make a special mechira for those who live in Eretz Yisrael, because their Issa starts earlier. This year, since the Issa doesn't start till the next day, so you could sell over here for Eretz Yisrael also. And so when the Rav sells over here, he could sell here for Eretz Yisrael. For everyone it's sold, and we pass in places that you sell, you don't have to make a bedika. So it's sold, and at night when you make it bedika, you make a bracha, and anyone who helps you is yahrzeit with that bracha. And after you finish the bedika, you put it in a way. It says you should put it away in a place they shouldn't have problems. Next, every year we have people. You couldn't find the 10th piece, and you get more problems about having the 10 pieces. So we make sure my wife writes down where she puts everything, puts numbers on, and you put it away in a place where no one can reach it. And after you finish the bdika, you make a bittul that night, and then on Shabbos before 12 o'clock you make bittul again. And you have to make before 12, because after 12 when it's usher, you can't make bittul anymore, you can't annul it anymore. And we can go soon later the lachas of this year, especially because it's I'm just going through the inyan of bdika and finishing the bdika. Finishing bdika means burning the chametz, getting rid of the chametz. And we're going to have this year the same chametz, just like every year. We're going to have trucks like every year, and to get rid of the chametz, get rid of all a truck that you have the actual garbage that you put, and then we have the recycle truck where you put recycle stuff, and we also have the green bin truck, and we have the fire. Mekayim the mitzvah with the fire, Mekayim the mitzvah, and you make a bracha al bir chametz before start the bedika, because the mitzvah of bedika is getting rid of chametz. That's what the mitzvah of bedika. So okay, and that's what you should remember, like partial getting rid of anything that has alcohol in it. Like if if it has ethyl alcohol or ethanol, any of these which is made from wheat usually. So these things you shouldn't make if you have a spray or a deodorizer that has ethyl alcohol. All these things should be put away. You shouldn't. And the same thing if you have perfumes that have alcohol in it. Well, mashallah, some nail removers have alcohol in it, so you should sell it with the chametz. And most medicines, Baruch Hashem, do not have chametz. And if they have anything, it's kidneys. And anyone who has to take medicines is allowed to take kidneys. And so most medicines are not a problem. People should not be machlan. There's only very, very few, mamash 1 out of 1,000 that maybe have chametz, and you speak to your pharmacist will tell you, but most medicines you have, and the kidneys, anyone who's a choila is allowed to take kidneys, and there's no problem taking kidneys. The mouthwashers, the best thing is something that you put in your mouth should have a good hashgacha, and so any mouthwash or toothpaste should get a new toothbrush for pesach, and then you have kashering. Kashering for pesach is first you have the 5 types of kashering. You have libim gomer, libim kal, and then you have agola, and then you have irui, and then you have filling up with water for 3 days and emptying. So everything you kasher according to what it's used for. Oven has to be with libim gomer, and some things that not libim kal. But most people, where you kasher your things, everything has to be kasher. If you kasher on convection oven, so if you have self-cleaning, it works well, burns everything up. But if you're using the libim that you just put on the oven for an hour, you have a problem in the fan, because by the fan there's a lot of crumbs that fall into the fan. So there you'd have to take off the cover of the fan and clean it out properly. The same thing in the stoves that have ovens underneath, and the stove, if you have, it's 2 separate ovens, then there's no problem. But if you have those that have an oven underneath and a stove on top, so there's the whole exhaust hole. There's a lot of chametz there. You have to clean it up, make sure you clean it up properly. And those people who have a pesach kitchen and you have everything new is ma'atoiv. It's nowadays it's the best for many ways. But you have to things that are used with liquid. A pot has to do agola. You have to boil it, and the counters. Some counters cannot be kasher. For mica can't be kasher, but stone counters could be kasher. And the problem with using a steamer, because really you have to kasher with water. So steamer that also liquefies, your steamer liquefies, then you can use the steamer also. But if not, you should pour water on it and then use the steamer on the water, and then go and then kasher the stone counters. And the sink, you kasher also by filling it up with hot water first from the hottest sink, and pour boiling water over it. You have to change the faucet, you change the spout, because there's a net there. You not take off the spout and just put a cloth over it. And the hood on the top of the stove, especially if it's low, you should really make sure you change the filter, or wash the filter properly with hot water, and make sure it's very clean, because there's a lot of time, especially if you have a low hood, there's a lot of chametz coming, from the heat, from everything all year. If you cook chametz, it goes up there, so you have to make sure you clean it properly. And there you have to make sure everything is clean, even a crumb, because you're using it on Pesach, which there's no crumbs should fall there on Pesach. So you have to make sure that it's cleaned properly. Bottles that are used all year are not with hot, just soaking things. So then you just milu v'iru, you just fill it up for 24 hours, change it for 72 hours, and then it can be used. Our minhag is we don't kosher plastic and we don't kosher glass. So if a person has a glass top stove, I saw Baruch Hashem that the COR has now a mat that you could use to cover the glass. I saw it and have it in the link that you could go and cover your glass top stove with it. They have specially made for pesach, thick. So what you do is you wash your glass top stove properly, and then you put it on, let it burn for half an hour, and then put it out. And you can use that mat, and that's the best thing. You can't kasher blechs that we used all year. You have to have a special blech for pesach. You can't kasher a regular blech because it's the same thing. You shouldn't use mitts that you use, gloves that you use all year for chametz. Either burn it or you can't use it. Things like that are full of chametz. Don't rely on washing. A regular, on minhag we have special wash, special cloth for dry for pesach. We don't use the same cloth that you use all year, and because if you have to, you wash it. Same thing. Tablecloth we have special for pesach, and things. For pesach you have to try to be machmer and make sure that there's no chametz there. The best thing is to buy everything with a good hashgacha, a proper hashgacha. And when you go shopping, you have to remember that buyer beware. You have to check every item to make sure, even if it's in a kosher pesach section, even if it's a kosher pesach store, you have to make sure that it's stuck, because things mix up. And there's so many stories every year. You have to make sure, and also, especially, a lot of items that come from Eretz Yisrael, which are made with kidneys, because the Sephardim eat kidneys, and they have a hechsher, but sometimes something that has a hechsher all year from regular hashgacha, you'll see on Pesach, it won't have the regular hashgacha. It will only have Rakla Pesach. It means it has kidneys in it. So you have to be careful when you buy items from Eretz Yisrael. And even in America, you have to be careful, things that are made only for Eichel kidneys. It says it's only made for Eichel kidneys. You shouldn't, there's some shilas with aspartame, things like that. Marshall diet soda that has aspartame, which comes from kidneys. So some people are mekel, it means for choyle, who is not allowed to drink regular sugar, and he has to drink soda. But a regular person should not drink things made from kidneys shenishtanu. And citric acid is made from that, and so you have to be careful. The things that have aspartame, you shouldn't use. Only if someone's a choyle, someone's a diabetic, and he can't use regular sugar. And so the halacha is you shouldn't use it. And we don't eat kidneys achron shel pesach either. Kidneys we don't need achron shel pesach. Gebrooks we eat achron shel pesach. Kidneys we don't need achron shel pesach. And so those are the halachas. So you make sure that all the chametz, when it comes time, 12 o'clock on Friday, all the chametz, any chametz you leave over to eat. Okay, we're going to speak of this year because it's Shabbos. Anything you're allowed to eat chametz the whole day, but it has to be put in a special place, and kids should be taught that really. And so some people hold you shouldn't eat all day, so children shouldn't remember. Last year we ate the whole afternoon chametz, and they won't remember. That's why the minhag is you. So some people hold you shouldn't really eat chametz all day. If you eat, you should eat matzah shiur, you should eat egg matzah, chocolate matzah, or any matzah that's you're not yoitza. On Erev Pesach itself, you're not allowed to eat regular matzah that you're yoitza with. So now, that's one of the difficulties we have. We have to be mekayim the mitzvah of shalosh seudos. And as our teachers, it's so important to eat shalosh seudos. 3 seudos on Shabbos. That anyone who eats shalosh seudos will be nitzel from the mechemes goy gemogoy, the Mashiach, and the lashon of Machabe Yizer Ma'oi, the person should be very careful to eat 3 seudos. And seudos should really be with bread. Pas. So now we have a problem. On Shabbos, matzah you can't eat, and chametz you're scared to eat. So the best thing is to eat a type of chametz that doesn't crumb so much, like pita, or if someone takes just a little small, everyone gets their own small kazayis roll, and eat it on top of a tissue, and any crumbs you throw into the toilet, you throw it away. And the best thing is, the halacha is we're not allowed to cook chametz items on. You're not allowed to make a regular cholent, even though you're going to eat earlier. You're not allowed to make any. It says you cook because you won't be able to clean it properly. So everything should be cooked pesach. Everything should really be. It has to be cooked pesach. And the best thing is to use throwaway dishes, throwaway silverware, throwaway dishes, cups, and everything. I think this week throw it away. And the best thing is maybe if you eat the chametz first before you bring out the dishes, anything. So you shouldn't. If you make kiddush and you eat the chametz, put it in a tissue, and anything that you throw in the garbage, and you leave just a piece to bench halachas for bench. You can eat a pass. So at night you could do it, and the same thing in the morning. And the minhag is that also to be yahrzeit shalshudas with three sudas with pass. You make a hefsek, you bench, and you wait 10, 15 minutes, and then your best things go out, and come back in, and then you eat the third suda, and you have to make sure you finish eating before the sovzman achila. Sovzman achila here in Toronto is according to the Magen Avraham 1042. According to Gra, it's 11 o'clock. It's either 10:42 or 11:06. Sovzman achila. And so you should try to daven early. So we have Baruch Hashem in Shul, the Sikha minyan and an early minyan 7:15, and you daven fast. You don't say, try to you schlep out the davening. You daven, say every word, but don't schlep it out with the gunim and this. And some people, that's why they don't say yahrzeit this week. They say yahrzeit the next week. So you should be able to finish davening early enough to be able to have two sudas. To be able to have 3 sudas. A woman should really every Shabbos eat 3 sudas. And the chiyuv eat 3 sudas for men and women equal. And so women should try to eat 3 sudas every Shabbos. And then there's a halacha that you're supposed to eat after mincha. So after 2 o'clock we have a minyan in shul mincha. Afterwards you can't eat matzah and you can't eat chametz. So you could do it. So when you're mekayim already, according to shiur5785, has been breaking the suda in the morning, and there's in of eating hot in the morning suda also one of the sudas, and then in the afternoon that's what we do. We eat cholent made out of potatoes, not of kidneys, and some meat, some fish. You could eat those. You could eat and egg matzah is a shaila, and because the minhag is we don't eat egg matzah because egg matzah some shitas hold is chametz also. We're makel for katanim. So much if you have children eating and they're going to run around with bread, so the best thing is to give them egg matzah. And they can eat egg matzah a whole day. Give them egg matzah or chocolate, any kind of matzah you give for them. But for adults, it's better to have regular bread for lechem mishnah for at night and the daytime. And you have to make sure to do bittul. The best thing is before the last zman of eating chametz, you should go and rinse your mouth out, and with the mouthwash 10:42 or 11:06, rinse your mouth out and make sure you clean your hand, everything from chametz. Children who have braces, so or people who have dentures, things like that. So for 24 hours, you shouldn't eat hot chametz. You can eat hot things, but don't eat hot chametz. And the best thing, if you could go to a dentist to clean out from any crumbs that you have in your braces, ashrei chelkom, if you do it. And if you could have special dentures like Satmar Rebbe had for Pesach, ashrei chelkom. So if not, for 24 hours you shouldn't eat any hot chametz with it. And you should rinse your mouth out with the hadas. So make sure you clean it properly. Make sure you clean properly. And the people who put things in the mouth at night so they shouldn't grind the teeth, just have to wash it off. But you don't use it with hot, you can wash it off. The rubbers that people have the braces. Some have some either kidneys powder on it. So the best thing is to wash it off before pesach, so you can use it. And so this year, because much of someone forgot to kasher the kelim before Chatzois on Friday, you can kasher the whole day. Usually you can't kasher it in the afternoon, but this year you can kasher it the whole day. But it's yeah. And what you have to now this year is you have Yaknahaz, Matzah Shabbos. First of all, Matzah Shabbos, before, if you daven Ma'ariv, you say V'toidienu. That's Avdollah of Tefillah. A woman who doesn't daven Ma'ariv, before you start doing anything, preparing anything for the Seder, you have to say Baruch HaMavda Ben Kodesh L'Choil, Ben Kodesh L'Kodesh. And because you have to say Avdollah with your mouth, and then later you say Avdollah by the Seder. And by the Seder, we make Yaknahaz, stands for, it's an acronym for Yain, Kiddush, Ner, Avdollah, Zman. Yain is by Paragofen Kiddush, and Bar Mareish. How do you make Bar Mareish? You have to have two candles together. Baruch Hashem, nowadays, they sell Yaknahaz candles. So, and if you have a Yaknahaz candle, that's the best. So when a woman lights the candles, one of the candles you light should be a Yaknahaz candle. We have it this week. The first Matzah Shabbos, that was the second Matzah Shabbos. Matzah Shabbos of shiur5785. After pesach also will make Avdollah. And if you don't have a Yaknahaz candle, the best thing is just to take a match and put it near the fire and say, put the match on. You're not allowed to extinguish the match. Just put it down. Because that's the best of halacha. You put two fires together, it's all problem. Sometimes they drip but if you make sure they don't drip and you don't put it together, and also you should prepare Erev Shabbos a 3-day candle, because you have to you're not allowed to strike a match to light Glucose Neris, so you prepare a 3-day candle, so you should be able to light from that the candles on Yontif. On the second days you don't need 3-day candle, you need a 2-day candle, and there's a big difference. Women should know. And the first 2 days of Yontif, we make Shachianu. The last 2 days of Yontif, it's only Yontif, you don't make Shachianu, because it's not a new Yontif, it's part of the first Yontif. So on shiur5785 and Achar shiur5785, we do not make a Shachianu. And so the afternoon, after 4:30, you're not allowed to eat. Those who eat gebrokts really could eat for Shal Shudas, 2 o'clock, they could eat a knedel or a chremzel. Those who eat gebrokts. And but those who don't eat gebrokts can eat, but those who eat gebrokts could be mekayim Shal Shudas with either with a knedel or chremzel. But you're allowed to eat a knedel because it's not matzah itself. You're allowed to eat that. And I don't want to eat really discussing with my wife, but to serve Friday night, I said, we don't want to eat knedel, because for us, knedel is a big thing, Achman Shal Pesach, to take away. It's like, take away the beauty of the Yontif of Pesach, from Soipel, eating of knedel on Pesach, gives us the Einig Yontif. So then you have to make sure, anything you buy, dried fruit, you have to make sure that's kosher Pesach, because sometimes dried fruits, they're dried with chametz, so you have to make sure that it's a kosher Pesach. Everything you buy, meats and regular fresh meat and regular fresh chicken doesn't need a special kosher Pesach. But ground meat need, because the grinder is used sometimes with chametz. So ground meat and ground chicken, you have to make sure that it's kosher Pesach. Because all year it could be ground to the same thing as they have chametz in it, so you have to make sure that it's a kosher Pesach. So the mitzvah of the Seder, well, you have to make sure that you don't eat a lot in the afternoon of Shabbos afternoon. Eat with the fruits. You could eat again. Many we don't eat anything that you use to make charoises of apple or you don't eat lettuce, things like that you can make tomorrow. And all the other years used to always use, there's be a big problem with bugs. The shrotzim. It's awesome in our Torah to eat shrotzim. The mitzvah of eating murder does not battle the mitzvah of eating shrotzim, the alav of eating shrotzim. So my father's Rabbi he stayed 1 year as Rebbe. The night Rebbe was a big Yerushalayim. He used to have 18 bochum check every leaf, and anyone who found a bug on the leaf got a forint, $1. And after all that, he checked it himself also. But Baruch Hashem, nowadays we have all these companies, Evergreen, we have Bodek, and these companies that are checked already that you could eat it. The Baruch Hashem, the Eibusha was Mizakos. Nowadays, the things that for years and years the Achroinim used to plug about. They said you should eat. Some places you used to eat sticker of chrein instead of eating lettuce, because shaila, special romaine lettuce, has bugs inside in the leaves. But Baruch Hashem, nowadays we could get things that are good hechsher, and we should use that. You shouldn't rely on your own. Don't buy regular romaine lettuce and rely, unless you know what you're doing. If you have a light and you know how to check it properly, then sure, that's if you can do it yourself and Asher Chalko. But if not, just to rely that it's good, that some people don't need the leaves, but don't rely on that, because it could be bugs inside the romaine lettuce, could be bugs. So and all year you have to be careful to eat these things, and you shouldn't rely. And so the first thing, you can't do the Seder till it's Vadai Laila, till it says at least 50 minutes after Shkia, or something, 2 minutes after Shkia, and try to be Mazaris to do the Seder as soon as possible, so the children should be up, because like I mentioned, that's the mitzvah of the Seder, and women are mechuyev and all the chiyuvim Seder, just like a man, and the mitzvah of Seder is to eat matzah, maror, and drink darbakoisis, and saying the Agoda. It's the mitzvah Esed Deraisa to say the Agoda, and the Agoda is answering, and so you have all the children, and says you should give out goyas and egois and kloyos for the children, give them candies to keep them up, to make sure that they stay up. So you make the kiddush. The man has to drink the arbakoisis baseva. A woman could drink it baseva. A man has to. If not, he has to drink it over. And the man has to eat the matzah baseva. More, you don't eat baseva. Koirach, you eat baseva. And the minimum share is 2.10 ounces, 3 ounces to drink. And it's better to have a small kais and drink a whole cup and take a big cup, because the lachet should be right of the kais at least. So it's better to have small kaises. And for the first kais of kiddush, which that kais should be a bigger kais, it should be over 4 ounces, and the other kais should be 3 ounces. And the fill, it's best to drink wine, and best not mavushal wine, and if not, you should drink. You can drink, the cow. Those who don't have those dry alcohol, eat drink grape juice. Mix grape juice with a little wine. Mix grape juice with water. Mix wine with water a little, and you have to drink it right away in 2 gulps. And you shouldn't drink it in 1 gulp, in 2 gulps. And you eat baseva. Baseva is like this. That's a seva. You should relax. You shouldn't make crazy savers. Make easy a saver. That's how you're supposed to make a saver. And the matzah, if you're eating hand matzah, the halacha should be by moitzi matzah, and by apikoyman, it should be like a third of a matzah, and by koirach it could be a quarter of a matzah. And wheat, by koirach only use ground grain, because of you have to be careful. And those who use lettuce have to be careful it's dry. Those who don't eat gebrocks, you shouldn't put wet lettuce on top of the matzah. You mark it on gebrocks, and you put so you have to make sure you dry it properly. And if you have one of these things, have the shiurim on it. Best thing is to make the shiurim. And the mitzvah is, when you start the mitzvah before Pesach is give Ma'aschitim. Make sure that every Yid in Toronto enjoys their Pesach and has enjoyment of the Pesach. Saying, when you sit by the table, you start the Lach Ma'anyo, call the Chmin, everyone who is hungry, every tzrich, we help them. Because how could you sit down at a table if you know that some people can't even, make a seder? So you make sure that you give there's a chiyuv for every man and woman in a kehillah to give to Ma'aschitim, Kimcha the Pischa. And, we have Baruch Hashem in our shul, the Gabam who collected, and to give Kimcha the Pischa and to give out those people who really, everyone should have an enjoyable Pesach. It's a mitzvah to have an enjoyable Pesach. And the Ketchila to eat Dafikoyim, especially the first night before 119, to eat Dafikoyim. So you should rush it up a little and be able to eat Dafikoyim before 119. And the Kzayis more, you put into Chorosis, and everything has to be done. You can't prepare all these things on Shabbos, so everything should be prepared either before Shabbos or by the Seder itself. It's hard to grind things. And if you use to grind your grain, if you don't put it onto a plate, you put it onto a parchment paper, and the parchment paper needs actual Pesach. So then you could do it on the parchment paper, and you don't put the grind in a regular place, and you have to eat a kazayas, and fill the whole suit. It says you should eat baseva, and the main thing is to give a lot of attention to the children, grandchildren. They should enjoy it, and the enjoyment is they should eat. Make sure they all eat a little. They don't have to eat the big shum of kazayas, kazayas of matzah, kazayas of mar, and a koirich, and then to eat dafikoyman. And dafikoyman presents a very good thing, but to take dafikoyman, it's to keep children awake, to make children are awake, and children should stay awake, and to give them the proper attention. And if you drink wine that doesn't have we drink Chablis, doesn't have sugar in it, and the best thing is to drink something that doesn't have any sugar in it, wine without any sugar in it, and it can be sweet, but it's natural sweetened, not mavushal at Ketchila. You should eat something not mavushal. Even grape juice is better to eat. Drink not mavushal. And if you could drink wine and don't get drunk from it, then it's better to drink with a small, not a big kais, a small kais. Don't eat giant kaises, a small kais, 3 or 4 ounces. The first one 4 ounces, and the other 3 ounces. And to be kaim, but you're not allowed to eat. We don't need we don't need anything roasted or pot roasted. If it's a roast with liquid, you could eat, but if it's dry roasted, we don't need roasted chicken and roasted, steak roasted, and anything roasted we don't eat by the Seder. And I mentioned we have a inyan for mincha on Shabbos to be able to eat. The person's inyan of eating the shalshudas after mincha, and everyone should be mekayim the mitzvah after, after 2 o'clock to be mekayim the mitzvah of eating shalshudas. And also, anyway, it's going to be till late at night to be able to. You shouldn't be hungry. And the same thing, the second night, you're not so makbid on eating apikoyman, at least because ayis matzah should be eaten before chatzos. And then the Chalamoid, there's a mitzvah of eating matzah every day. There's a mitzvah eating matzah, and after Pesach, be careful not to buy places. But most places, Baruch Hashem, and nowadays either if they belong to Yidden, they sell the chametz. So you go to the Jewish stores, you don't have to worry. And anyone who wants to, make sure that you enjoy, you buy your children presents for it's, a moen, the Gemara says, is a mitzvah of simcha yontiv, and so men have simcha b'basar v'yayin, and women have simcha with buying clothing and jewelry, and children have simcha with nash and buying pretzels. It's a mitzvah to buy apikomen and chalamoid. You're not allowed to do any malacha. A real malacha, you're allowed to sew a button on. You're not allowed to go real sewing and real malacha on. You're allowed to change a bulb, a light bulb, and you're allowed to, some things that you don't need an expert. You're allowed to change a tire or something, but not allowed to go do malachas umen on chalamoid. This year, it's interesting for those who don't eat gebruchts, and so you can't. When are you going to make your knedel? So those who have a minute that they make the knedel anyway before, you just don't use it till afterwards to make it on chalamoid, and others who just don't do it till Motzei Shabbos. And when you mention Motzei Shabbos, you have Yaknahaz again, and you have to make a Baruch HaMaved Ben Kodesh, and you have to be careful not to raise or lower the electric fires unless you have a indicator light that tells you when the element is on. You can make it higher. When the element is off, you can make it lower. When food is on it, but you're not allowed to go raise it higher and lower on Yom Tov, and you're not allowed to strike a match on Yom Tov, and when you light, and Baruch should hope that everyone should be mekayim the mitzvahs properly. And this year we have this special. Last time, 4 years ago, we had a little COVID. I remember I gave a drasha that time about COVID, and Baruch Hashem, this time we don't have COVID. This time we can be kind with families. That time, the first year, people couldn't eat with their families on Pesach. And Baruch Hashem, we have to remember, and that we call those neshomas that were lost. And also we have to remember that now when we sit the cheres, the hostages, they're not sitting the cheres. We have to remember them. We have to remember that maybe the Rebbe was going to help by us davening now that they'll all come out before Pesach. They should, just like we went out the cheres, they should go out the cheres. And just like the Rebbe brought all kind of nisim and applause, Baruch Hashem showed so many nisim all year. He should continue to show more nisim, and the Rebbe should help. Like Hashem should, just like the Rebbe should make nisim and applause, Mitzvahs Mitzrayim, Cain, the Rebbe should make nisim and applause. We should be zeichel to be mekayim the mitzvah properly. Well, and also we start saying Morid Atol. On the first day Yom Tov, we start counting Svira for the second night of Yom Tov, and then we have Svira afterwards. Then there's mitzvah of making Birchas Halonos. Now we can't make Birchas Halonos because there's no budding yet. When the budding starts, so even though it says in Etzrol the budding is there, but here you make the bracha whenever the budding starts. Make shlechosim elohim leklum. One should hope that every one of you, by being mekayim the mitzvah of beer chametz properly and eating matzah properly, it says that anyone who's mekayim to make sure not to have a mashu chametz will be zoiche, wouldn't have any mashu chametz all year and no problems. And we make the rotzen when we burn the chametz, should burn all the soinim, burn all those who go against Klal Yisrael, zoiche, all the anti-Semitism should stop with beis hagoyel. So all of you have a chag kosher v'sameach, a good Yom Tov, a simchas Yom Tov, and we should be zoiche to the biggest simcha of the Gula b'meir b'yameinu.
Amen. Thank you, Rabbi Lowy. I want to just apologize for the late start and for the delayed start. I got so reliant on Mrs. Rechsheven. What a fantastic job she does all year. Before I unmute everyone, I want to thank Laura Lyman for stepping in and co-hosting. And we did have a sponsor of the broadcast, and I will read Mrs. Schoenblum sponsored it. And I wanted to announce her father's name, who was a member of our Kehillah. And then here, his name is Yeshua ben Moshe Aryeh Halevi, Shia Fish, alav hasholom, his yahrzeit is Vav Nisan. Neshoma should have an aliyah b'schus the broadcast. Thank you all for joining. There will be a recording of this on the aguda.ca. At this point, I will allow everyone to unmute and wish the Rav a chag kosher v'sameach.
Thank you, the Schoenblum family, and thank you, Akiva. Thank you, Ms. Leitman, And thank you. And everything is min hashamayim. There's a reason for everything. And Baruch Hashem, that all of you should have bittul chametz, get rid of all your chametz, and all the chametz and sicknesses should all be zoichet to all the brachos. Those who need shidduchim, pesach is a time of kriyas yamsuf. Those who need shidduchim should get shidduchim. And mezainis also kriyas yamsuf. Those who need panasa should have panasa. Those who need refuahs and Hashem refecha. And we all be zoichet to see the gula. A good job. Thank you everyone for listening.
Thank you. Everyone can unmute.
I have a question, Rabbi Lowy. I have a question.
Yeah.
Are you allowed to bench after the Zman on Shabbos? You've eaten you finished your chametz.
Yeah, you can bench afterwards.
Okay.
Just make sure you rinse your mouth. Best thing is to use some mouthwash to clean. You can't use toothpaste, but you can use mouthwash to get rid of all the chametz in your mouth. If there's any crumbs, it should come out.
And then you can bench after the Zman.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Can I ask the Rav a question too?
Sure.
Okay. Normally I drink Diet Coke, so I won't be doing that. Is Coke Zero okay, or should I just stay away?
No, Coke Zero is the same thing.
It's the same thing. And then if I have a crown, Baruch Hashem, I have a crown now. Do I have to wait 24 hours, or because it's stuck?
Crown you don't have to worry about.
Okay. One more thing, shiur5785. So the Rav said that we should have some sort of shiur5785, but not wash adults. What like later on after 2?
You can't wash. You can't eat anything. You eat some. What we eat, cholent. Eat meat and potatoes and fish.
Okay, we thank the Rav.
And is it possible, Rob, to have a Chabad shiur5785 this Shabbos?
I mean, the Zohar Kodesh brings that down. The Zohar Kodesh brings down that on Shabbos, when you can't eat, should be Mekayim to Torah. That's what the Zohar is. But the only thing Chofetz Chaim is say, Torah can be upschlagen. Akzai is coming to upschlagen.
Especially if shiur5785 includes shiraim from the Rav, then for sure that Mekenish Abschlag.
Yeah. Anyway, especially you're not going to eat till 10 o'clock at night. You shouldn't go into fasting into the Yom Tov. So you should eat in the afternoon. You don't eat anyway. Hello.
Yomim al mamlachtoi ad mevezim shana.
Amen.
Can I ask the Rev a question?
Yes.
Can I ask the Rev?
Sure.
If I have cookbooks in a glass cupboard that's closed, do I have to cover them?
If you have what?
Cookbooks, chametz cookbooks that are in a glass cupboard that you can see them, but it's a locked cupboard. It's taped up. Do they have to be covered also?
It should be covered. Cooking if things that have chametz in it you should put in a closed.
It's in a closed cupboard. It's glass. It's like there's glass panes.
Glass, you cover it. Put some paper on it.
Cover it, not to see them. Okay, thank you, Rabbi Lowy.
Okay, have a good Yom Tov, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
How can you listen and read at the same time?